It's like ooh la la, ooh la la. It's not hard to say how I feel. It's like ooh la la, ooh la la. It's kinda easy now 'cause it's real. Hey. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Well, hi everybody. How are you? It's good to see you here. Oh my goodness. Yes. So, hi Linda. You guys must get on the chat beforehand and have whole conversations going on. And Linda, what are you talking about? If you comment between the 20 and 30 mark, it will drop it from the chat. I don't know. See? I don't know those things. I don't know. One more thing that I don't know about. Yes. Good. Hi, Tamara. Glad you were able to get an appointment. There is Fatima. How are you? And Fatima's here. Tamara's here. And Linda. And there, I saw Larry too saying hello to Mrs. Shepherd. And Lupe's here. How are you guys? It is so warm today. It's not as warm as it was yesterday. And I don't know, yesterday was brutal, but it was good. Your day is productive and fun. Thank you. Yeah. His watercolors. Yes, your watercolors are a cut above. Made a comment early and it's gone. Oh, I get it. Oh, okay. So if it's beforehand, I get it. I know what you're talking about now. So, yeah, okay. So yesterday was the art walk. We oh my gosh, 9:30 in the morning I was heading up there and got there. I said I would be there by 10. I was there by about quarter to 10. And people, literally some other people were already dropping stuff off and it was insane. And it didn't even start till 4 in the afternoon. Get that. So I was just there to get my area set so that we could block off parking. And yeah, eager beavers wanting to help. That's cool. So from 10 to 12, or from quarter to 10 to 12, or a little after, almost 12:15, we marked out stop where the booths were going to be, and we put up our booth spot, but not the art yet. Anything got loaded and unloaded a whole bunch of stuff, and then turned around, ran home. Bob made lunch really quick. I hopped in the shower, got dressed, came back out, ate my lunch, and turned around and zipped back up and was back up there by 1:15 because I had people coming. One gal had a gypsy trailer. It's very cool. It's a really cool painted little, it's this just, it was just cute, a little art trailer thing. And she had to be in a certain place and get theirs early. And people just started rolling in. And it was nonstop from 1:15 until 9 o'clock last night. I think we were we pulled out of the parking lot and the time said 9:12 oh my gosh. And we packed everything up. It was crazy. Lots of fun. talked about the Africa trip and showed the Africa pictures. Didn't sell any of them. Sold some cards, but not a lot of people want a cheetah on their wall. I didn't expect to. It was fun though. It was fun to see everybody. It was crazy, crazy good time. Big community fun thing, and my activity for the kids booth was a huge success. It was cork catamarans, literally a toothpick and two corks and another toothpick that they could make sails. They decorated sails and it was hilarious. And then I had a small swimming pool, little plastic swimming pool, and they had straws so that they could have boat races. I guess it was packed all day. So that's pretty fun. But we unpacked this morning, took the stuff back to the Civic Center that's supposed to go there, got gas for the truck because we're going to the grandkids tomorrow, and then it's just been like, oh my gosh. But last night we hit the hot tub as soon as we got home, and well, after I showered, because my feet were, I wore flip-flops, and my feet were so muddy. It was hilarious. It was so dirty. They were so dirty that when I got in the shower, they turned to mud, which is, total. It was so maybe that's my lead-in line for this story today, the mud. So anyway, it was good. I'm glad it's done for another year, and I'm off to gonna go next week or this weekend to go see grandkids. And I mentioned, and I guess I didn't mention it very loud or often or repeat it, about showing art today instead of Sunday, because I'm not going to be here. I'm going to do a premiere for you on Sunday. So I did get something from Tamara though, so we're going to see that first. So we're here a little bit of a surprise show and tell night. So Tamara sent me this photograph of the supermoon on the 1st of August, which was the sturgeon moon. And wow, isn't it? She said, I love the moon. She was so bright and the night sky was clear and crisp. The moon was even closer on the 31st. She says, this photo was sending you was 357,528 kilometers away, which is 223,455 miles away. And she took it with her old Coolpix L820 Nikon, which is so great. Just goes to show, if you know your equipment and you're got an eye, you can do this. That's beautiful, Tamara. So, and then she sent me some other stuff here, and this was cool. Let's see, close that one, and then there's this. This is here. Let me do the other one. Here he is. There. Oops, the wrong one. There. Oh, there. This is sent me a link to watch somebody on YouTube, but she's sending me a photo of a small clay head that she did 20 years ago. It's about the size of a very small chicken egg, and it's not been fired. So I kept this sitting in an indoor plant, so it looks like an artifact. I love it. So that, and then there's another picture of it here. Hang on. And the side view of it. Isn't that cool? Good job, Tamara. Okay, hang on. Oh my. Well, you're just gonna, if dings happen, I can't put my thing on do not disturb right now because I've got it set up to be a camera for when I read the story. So Tamara, thank you for sending those in. That's very cool. It's nice to see how something like that you did 20 years ago is still, I mean, it's so beautiful. I just love it. It is like a little artifact. Very, very cool. So, okay. So I said muddy. And ooh, ooh, cool. Hang on. Just a second. We may have a secret treat here. Ooh, all right. Hang on. I got to go back to this. Where did he go? Where did he go? Where did he go? There he is. Moving him up here. Here. Okay. We got a treat here. This was Larry's last week, but I'm going to get rid of that and get rid of this. And he just sent me some pictures. So I'm going to show you guys. This, he says, are some photos taken by my friend Kirsten, who hikes and solo camps and has taken some amazing photos. So that's Mount Rainier in the background of that. That's the trail outside of Mount St. Helens, isn't it? I mean, no, this part. What is that? Where is that trail, Larry? You have to tell me. With Mount Rainier in the back. I'm trying to look which way. Okay. So tell us, that's Rainier, and is that looking from Goat Rocks? Oh, okay, of course. Yeah, that's why it looks so familiar. Goat Rocks are right up my alley where I grew up up near White Pass. So yeah, okay. And then this next one is another view of Mount Rainier. Yes. And that little thing, so this is coming from the other side because that's why Little Tahoma is on that side. That's the Little Mountain. At least that's what I've always called it. And then this one is hiking up in the Goat Rocks area. Oh my gosh. This is such a beautiful area. Let's see. Did I get another one? Oops. Let me see. Oops. Da. Green. Over there. Oh, and here's another one. God, I love that sunset. That's gorgeous. And this is that. Close out some of these other ones so you don't see them anymore and don't get confused. But that is either Reflection Lake or Clear Lake. Maybe. I don't know. Very cool. Perfection in a sunset, yeah. What's a bivvy? Yeah, it's a kind of a tent that kind of for bivouacking. Oh, Glacier Bay. Okay. Bivouacking is, like when you can attach to the rocks and sleep in like a hammock type tent. Sort of, I think that's what it is. Larry could easily correct me and I would not be offended at all because I could be completely wrong. Thanks, Larry, for sending those. Those are exciting to see. Okay, so I was going to start to tell you. So my feet got real, because I was in basically a dirt gravel kind of parking lot that's not used anymore. Bob had gone up and had completely cleaned it up and weed whacked it and everything and all kind of stuff to make it look all cleaned up, but it was still dusty and dirty. And of course, even though I have a little rug down in my area, I was running around all over the place setting up park cones and doing these and stuff. my feet got filthy. So the mud flowed when I stepped into the shower so that I could get in the hot tub. I had to clean my feet up. And it took the shower scrubber to clean my feet. I mean, literally, a scrub. They were so bad. And the mud was just, oh my God, it was hilarious. So it said, that just made me think that this is the perfect book to read. So I'm reading the book tonight about muddy waters. And it is another book that's illustrated by Evan Turk, but it is written by Michael Mahan. And let's see, give you a little bit about him in the back here. He's loved music since his grandmother gave him his first piano lesson at the age of 5. Cool. He admires people like Muddy Waters who, despite great suffering, find the courage to be themselves in a world that wants them to be something else. Michael hopes his books inspire kids to do the same, and he lives in San Diego with his wife and their 2 children and several guitars. And he wishes he played better. It was fun today. While I was making the video to start this, I put on a YouTube of Muddy Waters music to help me select and get in the mood. And it was just really fun to listen to. And I think you're going to like this. But in case you don't know about who Muddy Waters is, I'm going to go first to this page of the book, which is the author's note, and read a little bit about who he was. So let's see if I can get rid of one camera and give you only there. There we go. So when the Beatles came to the United States for the first time in 1964, they were about to become the biggest band in the world. They were asked whom they most wanted to meet, and they could have said anyone, but they said Muddy Waters and Bo Diddley. The American reporters replied, "Muddy Waters? Where's that?" And the Beatles, witty as always, shot back, "Don't you know who your own famous people are here?" Muddy Waters was born and raised along the western edge of the Mississippi in an area that included Issaquah, Rolling Fork, and Coahoma counties. In addition to being one of the poorest regions in the United States, this area was also heavily segregated. Like most places in the South, unfortunately, for Muddy, racism was part of everyday life. While Muddy wasn't known to talk about the racism he experienced, one can assume that he, like millions of other African American men, women, and children, suffered greatly. It was this suffering, coupled with the hope for a better life, that led Muddy and 6 million other African Americans to leave the South in what was now known as the Great Migration. Many, like Muddy, moved north to such cities as Chicago, Kansas City, and St. Louis in order to find work and escape the brutal racism of the southern states. This migration of African Americans to industrial centers gave rise to new Black urban culture that would exert enormous political, social, and artistic influence across the country in years to come. The music genre known as Chicago blues is the style that Muddy helped invent, along with his early bandmates, Jimmy Rogers, Little Walter, and Otis Spann. Muddy's genius was combining the rawness and emotion of the Delta blues with the urban sound and feel of the electric guitar and bass. While Muddy was not the only musician to do this, he quickly became one of the most influential. The instrumental composition of Muddy's bands, which always included a guitar, a harmonica, piano, bass, and drums, laid the rhythmic and tonal foundation for what would become rock and roll. In 1971, Muddy won his first of 6 Grammy Awards. 7 years later, he played for President Jimmy Carter at the White House. He was a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as well as a recipient of the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. Chuck Berry, Bob Dylan, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Rolling Stones, Eric Clapton, Led Zeppelin, and countless others cite Muddy as a seminal influence. He's considered one of the most important artists in American music history, and is listed as number 17 on Rolling Stone magazine's 100 Greatest Artists list. From the muddy shores of the Mississippi Delta to the polished parlors of Chicago, Muddy Waters' journey is a quintessentially American story of struggle, hope, determination, and perseverance. This book is an attempt to capture that spirit. While some narrative elements are fictional, the author has been true to historical facts as much as possible. Despite all his achievements, Muddy did have one major regret in his life. He never had a chance to go to school, and he never learned to read or write. Oh my gosh. So, this is Muddy, the story of blues legend Muddy Water, written by Michael Mann, illustrated by Evan Turk, and Evan Turk did an outstanding job with this. I'm just blown away by it. He used gouache. Let's see, I saw this. The illustrations for this book were rendered in watercolor, oil pastels, China marker, printing ink, and newspaper collage. Muddy, the story of blues legend Muddy Waters. Let's see. The Best of Muddy Waters. Oh, thank you, Larry, for that YouTube link. Nice. Yes, I think that's the one I was watching today. It just, it's so good. I forgot how much I enjoyed that kind of music. I did not know that about that little trivia about the Beatles wanting to meet him, and I didn't know that he never learned to read or write. McKinley Morganfield was never good at doing what he was told, especially when it came to playing in the mud. His mama should have been mad, but she couldn't help but laugh. Ah, my muddy baby, my sweet muddy baby. McKinley's mama gave him a life and a laugh, and then she was gone forever. Oh, child, long gone, oh, child, sail on. But McKinley did have Grandma Della. She scooped him up and tried to keep him clean, and finally just started calling him Muddy. And he had music. Muddy loved the say it with me voice of the preacher and the glory, glory singing of the choir. But the music Muddy really loved, they didn't play on Sundays. What Muddy really loved was fish fry music. It was shake off the dust and wring out your worries and laugh and cry and feel alive music. It was the blues, and Muddy couldn't get enough of it. To have the blues was to feel bad, but to play the blues, was to take that low down skunk funk deep stomach hurt and turn it into something else. Muddy liked the blues. Unfortunately, Grandma Della did not. Last I checked, you can't eat the blues for breakfast, said Grandma Della. No child of mine is going to waste his time with music. But Muddy never was good at doing what he was told. So he found himself a half-smashed kerosene can to beat on, a wheezy accordion to squeeze, and a tired piece of wire to pluck. And he made himself enough noise to feel good. Not even Grandma Della could keep from dancing. One night, Muddy watched his hero, blues legend Son House, smash an empty bottle, take the bottleneck, and smooth its jagged edges over the fire. This is called a slide, he said, dragging the bottleneck up the strings, and the guitar howled like a wolf, powerful, lonely, and proud. This was the sound of the Mississippi Delta. That was the sound Muddy heard in his heart. Muddy saved his pennies, bought himself an old Stella guitar, and practiced and played for anyone who wanted to listen, and few who didn't. After a long while, the howl that was in his heart finally started coming out of his guitar. On weekends, Muddy made the juke shop joints jump, playing for the workers when it was time to unwind. But when Monday came, Muddy was back in his overalls, back working in the fields. Sharecropping was back-breaking, busting, soul-breaking work, and Muddy was already in a bad mood when the new boss man started picking on him. Muddy had gotten good at burying his anger and his pride and his hurt. To do otherwise could get you beaten or worse. But today, Muddy couldn't do it. He was tired of being picked on. "I ain't a boy," he said, "and I sure ain't your boy." The boss man's face went red with anger as Muddy walked away. "Stop right there, you or you'll never work in this town again." But Muddy never was good at doing what he was told. "Chicago's got a lot of people," he told Grandma Della, "but I don't think they ever heard of Muddy Waters before. Me and my guitar gonna make it just fine. Don't you worry." Oh, child, long gone. Oh, child, sail on. The clack-a-clack steam blur of the Illinois Central train rocketed Muddy and his guitar into the bustle and buzz of Chicago's South Side. Chicago was plugged in, turned on, and turned up, and so was its music. Records with electrified guitars and jazzy horns were making the blues jump all over town. Chicago was the city of Brown Bomber Joe Louis, the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. It was the city of the Chicago Defender, the legendary black newspaper dedicated to fighting racial injustice. And now, it was the city of Muddy Waters. In the clubs, the bebop jazzing swing of horns and strings had laid itself down over the blues like a chiffon blanket. This was music by city smooth sophisticats, not country-dusted hound dogs. No one wanted to hear a country boy playing country blues. "You gotta shake that dust off," the club owners teased. "You gotta jazz it up." But Muddy never was good at doing what he was told. The way he figured, his playing was just fine. It was their hearing that needed help. So Muddy plugged in, turned on, turned up, and out came the sound of the Delta. Buzzing and mad like an angry hornet's nest looking for a fight. It was deep feeling, gut bucket, gut aching music full of life and love and trouble and pride. It made people stand up and raise their hands and stomp their feet and laugh and cry and come alive. It was nothing like the primped and polished sounds people were used to, and they loved it. Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah, sail on, sail on. Muddy loved the clubs, but the late hours and low pay took their toll. He couldn't live on change alone. One day, Muddy got a call. A friend was making a record at the Universal Recording Studios, and he needed a sideman to back him up on guitar. If Muddy played well, they might even let him record his own song. Finally, a chance. First, they recorded his friend, and then they recorded him. Muddy did exactly what they told him to do. They added strings and horns and that soft and sweet Bluebird Records beat, but Muddy didn't care. He was just happy to be making a record. Too bad they put someone else's name on it. Muddy couldn't believe it. This was supposed to be his big break. This was supposed to be his record. But it wasn't. At least, not according to the cover. A year later, Muddy made a record for Columbia. This time, they got his name right. Too bad they decided not to release the record. Muddy was crushed. I play it like they say to play it, and still they don't like it, he thought. What am I supposed to do? When record producer Leonard Chess called, Muddy knew it was not to get his hopes up. Leonard just wanted Muddy to record Leonard's music, Leonard's way. But Muddy knew this might be his last chance, so he said yes. Soft is right, sweet and polite, said Leonard. That's what the cats are at. Muddy picked up his guitar, walked to the microphone, but he couldn't do it. Not again. Muddy had never been good at doing what he was told anyway. When Leonard pointed to the horns, Muddy pointed to the exit. No horns, no jazz, no fooling, said Muddy. If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail playing my music, my way. There was lightning in Muddy's eyes. If Leonard could bottle that, maybe they'd have something. You got one chance, said Leonard. Don't blow it. Muddy sat down with his guitar, pulled the microphone up close, and closed his eyes. Whoa, child. He remembered the dust and the plow and the meanness of the land and the softness of King Cotton. Oh, child. He called up the sticky heat of summer night, the power of love, and the need for connection in a world that was so good at pulling people apart. And he played just like Son House had taught him, not with his fingers, but with his heart. Muddy sang all about life as he'd lived it, with all its pain, its power, and its glory forever. Still unconvinced, Leonard printed only 3,000 copies of the record and sent them to local stores. Muddy chewed his nails and waited. What if people didn't like his voice? What if he wasn't good enough after all? Muddy didn't have to wait long to find out. All across the south side, the boom and bounce of Muddy's voice thundered down from open apartment windows. People were talking. This new blues was something special. It felt honest and raw. It felt real. It felt like the past and the future and the country and the city all rolled into one. Not only did Muddy have a record, he had a hit. In 24 hours, it was sold out. Leonard printed more. A lot more. One day, the Beatles would be shaking Muddy's hand. One day, the President of the United States would be tapping his toes. One day, the whole world would know the name Muddy Waters. One day was on its way. Oh, child, long gone. Oh, child, sail on. We're sailing on. And that's the story of Muddy Waters. Where am I? There I am. What'd you guys think of that one? Goosebumps, he says, Larry says. I know the pictures in this book are amazing. Evan Turk just blows me away each and every time. I can't be satisfied. Muddy Waters. That was the first one that sold out. Oh my gosh. So cool. I loved it. I loved the illustrations. Thank you. I'm glad you're kind of guy. Larry, I had a feeling that you would like this one. The guitars, the music. There's some other books that this guy has written. Michael Mahan had, he says, what did he say? At his home, he writes books. It said, go back. You going back? He's got a new book I'm going to get to read called When Angels Sing, about Carlos Santana. He's an award-winning children's author and produced screenwriter whose books have been recognized by the New York Times. What he does is he likes to write books about, what did he say? It was something about music and the art and the music and how music talks to people. What is it his blog said? I can't remember, but yeah. So yes, I'm excited to read When Angels Sing. I'll get that one. And I don't know if it's out quite yet, but it's about Carlos Santana. Woo, that ought to be good. That ought to be good. So I have one other book. What time are we? Oh, good. I have time. This other one is about another artist. And very different kind of artist. It's written by Cynthia Levinson. This is a painter artist. And Cynthia, and it's also illustrated by Evan Turk. So you'll see this one, and it's the illustrations are more, the faces are more like we saw in some of the other ones with the big eyes and type of things, his facial type things. But it is about, well, here, she's her name's Cynthia Levinson, and she writes what she calls a mostly nonfiction books for and about mostly young people. And she's got a book called The Youngest Marcher. She's got one called Fault Lines in the Constitution. She's gotten this one I'm going to read today is called The People's Painter. And I was really fascinated to hear about this. So I'm going to, again, I think I'm going to start with the author's note about who this guy was, because I think it's pretty fascinating. And then it gives you a little precursor about that. So let me flip here to here. Okay, so the author's note. So the book is called The People's Painter, How Ben Shahn Fought for Justice with Art. So Ben Shahn was so concerned about what was happening around him that you could almost track American history from the early 1900s to the 1960s through his work. In addition to the issues raised in this book, he addressed both world wars, Both world wars, Social Security, the Dust Bowl, nuclear arm testing, voting rights, the Vietnam War, and health care, all through his art. Art that focuses on current events is called social realism. Some congressmen considered Ben's artwork in this style unpatriotic, and he was investigated by the House Un-American Activities Committee. Nevertheless, Ben's social realist pieces are still displayed in government buildings and university. Hugely popular, Ben was one of the youngest artists to have a retrospective exhibit at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. His shows at art galleries routinely sold out, and he was hired to create pieces for a wide variety of purposes. That's going to tell about it in the, let's see what else. So you'll hear, I'll come back to that with more in this story. But again, in this one, it's the life and times basically of him. And this book, it is done with gouache, acrylic, pencil, chalk, and linoleum print blocks. Okay? There we go. There. The People's Painter. How Ben Shahn fought for justice with art. Let me check just one thing here for the brightness. There we go. The first thing I can remember, Ben said, I drew. From the time he could grasp a pencil, Ben Shahn yearned to draw everything he saw in his village in Lithuania. His mama, Gittel's hands, molding sturdy plates from slippery clay. His tata, Hessel, carving stout chairs out of spruce trees. And his tata's tata, Zadie, I had these names down, chiseling wooden skates so Ben could skim across the frozen Neris River. But paper was a luxury in the shtetl, that's it, the hetl, and there was none to spare. So, with his finger, Ben traced the Hebrew letters that curled and curved through his book of Bible stories. Then he couldn't stop himself. He sketched in the margins. Some Bible stories, though, enraged Ben, especially when good people got hurt. That's not right. Ben also protested when his header teacher wasn't fair. After a classmate pulled a prank, the teacher kept everyone indoors, demanding the culprit's name. I'm not going to tell who did it, Ben declared, and I'm not going to pay for something I didn't do. Refusing to tattle, he walked out. You can see his. Justice had mattered to Ben ever since he was little. He was only 4 when Tsar Nicholas II's soldiers hurled rocks through his window and dragged his father away, just because Tata had been demanding fair pay for working people. He was banished to frigid, far-off Siberia. Ben didn't yet know how to draw his outrage, but feeling his father's boldness inside himself, he marched up to the sentry at the end of the street and shouted, "Down with the Tsar!" The soldiers chased after him, but Ben escaped. Tata eventually escaped too, and in 1906, he made his way from Siberia to America. He wrote to Gittel, "Come." 8-year-old Ben, his brother Philip, his sister Hattie, and his mama packed their belongings. But Zadie could not leave the shtetl, the only home he ever knew. As the stagecoach pulled away, Ben had to let go of his grandfather's hand, and he wailed. tell a story. America bewildered the new immigrant. Trains overhead and underground, a cramped 2-room tenement apartment for the whole family, a chair that rocked and nearly dumped him over backwards. Not at all like Tata's. Tomatoes. Ick! And in school, Ben stared at what seemed like thousands of letters in all different shapes and styles and sizes, all different from Hebrew. Even worse, bullies tormented him about his clothes and accent, and they called him names just because he was Jewish. Sometimes, though, they'd pause if he chalked their portraits on the sidewalks. No one drew people better than Ben. Seeing his craving to draw, a teacher gave him watercolors. Another paid him to pen calligraphy, elegantly curving letters all in English. By the time he was 12, Ben was determined to become an artist. To do that, he needed to finish high school, go to college, learn about colors, lines, anatomy. But his father lost his job, and when Ben turned 14, his mother ordered him to leave school and go to work. He argued bitterly. Send Philip instead. But his family needed whatever Ben could earn. So he apprenticed to a lithographer who hand-lettered signs for billboards and chiseled them into stone storefronts. By day, Ben carefully copied those thousands of English letters. He spent months on A, tracing and carving every curl and curve. Then he moved on to B. Gradually, he fell in love with these letters too. After 5 years, he mastered the craft, and his signs began to appear around the city. Meanwhile, at night, Ben went to art school, hoping to perfect his portraits. But there was a problem. Ben's teachers taught landscapes, purple shadowed valleys, misty haystacks, fields of cows. Ben argued that shadows are not purple, and he detested cows. I like stories and people, he explained. Stories about people fighting injustice, about workers like Tata, loved ones like Zadi, and immigrants like himself. His teachers, though, insisted that paintings weren't supposed to tell stories, that pictures should be beautiful, not real life. Since he didn't want to portray pleasant pastures or cows, Ben wondered if he was an artist after all. Maybe he should only make signs. Nearly 30 years old now, confused and discouraged, he quit school, stopped painting, and sailed to Europe, then on to Africa. In museums, he gazed at centuries of pictures. This may be art, but is it my own art? He pondered. During that time, protests over an unfair trial in America also caught Ben's eye. Two Italian-American men, Nicola Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti, were executed in 1927 for a murder they probably did not commit. The judge and jury believed that they must be guilty since they were poor immigrants and they opposed democracy. Here was something to paint, Ben later exclaimed, infuriated at the injustice. If I am to be a painter, I must show the world how it looks through my eyes, not theirs. What shall I paint? Stories. He returned home and told their tale in 23 pictures, even though his teachers had insisted that he must not tell stories. And people flocked to see them, even if they weren't pretty. Ben didn't stop there. He painted other stories about outsiders, working people, prisoners, and Jews who had been mistreated just like Tate. His portraits were so powerful that in 1935, the United States government hired him. It was the Great Depression and jobs were scarce, so was food. President Franklin D. Roosevelt wanted Americans to see that poor people needed help, a helping hand from Washington. For his job, instead of painting on canvas, Ben borrowed a camera. With his friend Bernarda Bryson, whom he later married, he crisscrossed the countryside taking photographs that revealed hard lives in troubled times. Young cotton pickers in Arkansas, impoverished families in Mississippi, manual laborers in Louisiana, child coal miners in Pennsylvania. Many people didn't know how desperate things were until they saw Ben's photographs in schools, libraries, and magazines. They urged politicians to pass laws to make sure workers got jobs, families were fed, and children could go to school. The government hired Ben again in 1937, this time to paint a mural in a new village named Jersey Homesteads. President Roosevelt's New Deal program had built the town so garment workers, most of them Jewish, could move from city tenements to the airy countryside. What story would Ben tell? His own. In 3 scenes, he showed immigrants, including Mame, arriving poor, bewildered in America, working hard, demanding fair pay, and finally settling happy in Jersey homesteads. To Ben, the village felt like a shtetl. He and Bernarda liked it so much they moved there. Their children walked by the mural at school every day. Well, some parts of the government displayed Ben's work, others didn't trust him. In the 1940s and 50s, congressmen accused him of being disloyal because he didn't paint Purple Mountain Majesties or America the Beautiful. Instead, he shed light on Americans who lived in the shadows. One wintry day, 2 men appeared in Ben's door and flashed their IDs, Federal Bureau of Investigation. They questioned him relentlessly. Why do you support workers, immigrants, civil rights? Isn't America fine the way it is? Which of your friends are enemies of America? Ben politely served them tea and cake, but refused to tattle. So the FBI threatened to deport him to Lithuania, just as the Tsar had exiled Tate to Siberia. But Ben was not disloyal. I am the most American of all American painters, he later said. Eventually, the FBI backed down. Anyway, threats had never scared Ben. I hate injustice, he had declared. For the next 16 years, Ben continued to portray stories of people clamoring for their rights, civil rights activists, workers demanding fair pay, political protesters, advocates for peace, and Americans loved Ben's art so much they called him the People's Painter. Ben drew until the end of his life, handing down his stories of justice from generation to generation. When he was a Zadeh himself, Ben encouraged young artists to sketch anywhere, especially in the margins. It's amazing. He said, I've been long drawn to Ben Shine because of his fervent style, incorporation of Jewish themes, and focus on social justice. My interest burgeoned when I met Bernarda Bryson Sean in 1993 and discovered that we had attended the same high school in Columbus, only 4 decades apart. Through talking with her, their son Jonathan, and others, and by studying his art, I came to appreciate that what Ben had once told his student, get this, Ben's student, children's author and illustrator Tommy DePaula. Being an artist is not only what you do, but also how you live your life. Pretty cool. So I have to show you, let's see, just switch to here, screen share, overlay, no, screen share overlay. There we go. Um, Fiddle. I was trying to show you something. Oops. Not that. Okay. Don't do that. Then what do I want this to do? I was trying to... Oh, screen share. That's what I wanted to do. There. Here. I pulled up the site of some of his work. I mean, not all of this is, but there's... Go back up here. Some of his work, I mean, it's just this absolutely astounding body of work. All kinds of beautiful pieces. This one right here is one of my, was that one of them? It's one I really liked. Of the people that he did and the just amazing. So somebody I want to look at because his style is interesting, and it's interesting that they used Evan Turk to represent his work because Evan has such a vivid style with how he portrays people. Like that. So amazing. Really fascinating. Really fascinating kind of stuff. Anyway, there's that. Oh, Shelly, hi. Shelly Anderson Art is here. Welcome. How are you? My goodness. Didn't even see it. Of course, I get lost in the books, as you guys know. You have to keep chatting and saying, welcoming each other. Yay. Yes, that will be good. The Carlos Santana book. I'll get that one. So, oh, right. So that was, that was the story of the people's painter, Ben Shahn, fought for justice. It's just fascinating, his style. I had not really looked at his artwork a great deal. And, you know, you hear about so many other people in so many ways. And it's just pretty fascinating to see. I'll stop looking at him because I get distracted. Oh, I know. I wanted to show this one here. There was one I wanted to show because it was this picture of his work. I thought it was interesting that he has this whole series of pictures of musicians that he did. This accordion player, different ones. And it looks like Sammy and the accordion. No, that's not. But of his own. I thought that was awesome. Anyway, back to here where I am. Yay! All right, you guys. So Sunday, I will have a premiere for you. We're taking off tomorrow. It's Rook's birthday this weekend. She's going to be 5 on Saturday. Woohoo! So Rookie's going to be 5. That means I will have 2 of my grandkids will be in kindergarten, Lachlan and Rook. And so that's pretty fun. And there's a swim party for her, which ought to be a hoot because she's a water bug. And so is Rory. Rory's like 2.5 and she's a water bug. And McLean's just in there all the time. So it'll be a fun time to have a swim party. They belong someplace that has this pool. So we're all going to go there, but it's supposed to be really hot. So on Sunday, we're going to take them to the beach, take them out to Florence, Oregon, because it's only about an hour and 15-minute drive. And it's supposed to be like 95 in Eugene, but about 15 degrees cooler at the beach in Florence. So that'll be better. That'll be worth it. Anyway, I'm just checking here. What? Hope you will. Yes. Anyway, so just checking on what everybody said here. Checking in. It'll be recorded. Yes, it'll be recorded. And what's going to be recorded? Oh, Black Magic Woman will be stuck in your head now, huh? Oh, yay. I know. That Muddy Waters book was really fantastic. They're also interwoven, yeah. Amazing artists. 1999 based on his. Oh, you did, Tamara. Great. You'll have to send that one in sometime. Show someone Gretchen's already. Well, it's back. Overflowing and yay! Sent one last picture. Oh, Cape Horn, Columbia Gorge. Okay, hang on. Yippee. Get my. Come on. There we go. Oh, no. Oh, here it is. There's another one. So let me pull this one in over me if I can. There. Get this out of the way. Can you guys see that? This is a picture Larry said. He said he sent another picture. That looks... Yeah, that could be Glacier Lake. Very cool. That's the Pacific Northwest, you guys. We live in an area that is so amazing. Absolutely stunning. I absolutely love it up here. So, beep. Thanks, Larry, for sending those. Always love to see wonderful pictures. Now I got to try to figure out something. Oh, that's not it. Not it. Tag not it. Okay, not it. So, well, 1, 2, 3. I got those 3. And then I got this one. That one I just showed. And then there was this one. I showed that one. And that's it that has come. Nope. Oh, well, I don't know. Well, I'll find out, and if it shows up when I show art again, I'll show it. But it's not there now, and I don't want to keep you guys too long. Might not have sent. Well, save it. Save it for next time. All right, you guys. This has been a great boost to my midweek. I needed some energy because I have some stuff to do to still get packing and going. Bob's at a board meeting for Two Waters, which he was dreading. So he's there. I'm going to finish gathering up stuff. We're, like we said, we're heading to Eugene. I'm also stopping by the Brownsville break room and changing out the gallery wall of the art that I had there to other stuff. And gonna do, it's a big next few days, but I will be with you in spirit with the premiere on Sunday. I have a couple of books, another one by Evan Turk that he did the illustrations, but it's written by Matthew Burgess. And then I have that one that Linda, you wanted it specifically and had talked about by Tommy DePaula. The first book that Doug Salati, the guy that lives in Riverside, and has been the Caldecott winner, In a Small Kingdom, that Doug Salati did. They're very cool. I'll record those after I'm off with you and go get something to drink and come back, and then I'll record and I'll have it all ready for you. Probably won't have an opening video too much of it, just a little bit, but it'll jump right in. Anyway, you guys, have an amazing rest of your week. High five yourself every day. Confirm that you are awesome. And until next time, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around. But the first place you'll find it is when you go look in the mirror. And I'll see you next time. Maybe. Here it goes. There we go. Bye. What's that? Wrong.
In the heat of the night,
I don't know what that
we
is.
could get
What
lost
happened?
in all the lights. that you're
That's not it.
typical. I'll put you on a pedestal. There's not just stars on the boulevard. They're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards. I just need you by my side. We could be shameless,
Hey,
famous,
Shelly, high five.
cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck.
Oh, this is my sanity time camera. You guys keep me sane.
We could be famous.
Or sorta.
We could be famous. We could be
Here we go.
famous.
Look at there. There it is. Oh, there he had it. He's right. It is a good one if you missed it. Look at that. Ah, that's a stunner. Oh my god. Wow.
We could be shameless,
Wow.
famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us
Okay.
weightless. Ooh,
I'm just
drop dead
came through
gorgeous,
twice.
Ooh, you
I
got
love
me
it.
feeling starstruck too.
That's up above the Columbia, you said, right?
We could be famous. We could be famous. We could be famous.
Night, everybody.